sports really, like soccer or softball or anything like that. I did tennis for like a second. I did piano, and then I slammed a car door on my thumb when I was like 6. So
that was the end of your piano career? What could have been, you know?
I've done that like 3 times in my life.
So you really just made sure...
Thumb in a car
you made
door.
sure that you weren't going to play piano for a living.
I didn't want to go to my lesson. Mother, I'm 6. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so dance just came really naturally. And so there's a huge dance culture in Florida. One, Tampa is like an hour away from Disney in Orlando.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these performing arts, you know, kids or studios dance at Disney, dance in the parades, are, you know, Disney television. We all know what that is. It's like there's a lot of children, performance actors, that kind of thing. So being in dance class is a very common thing for a lot of young children in that area. And so I liked it. I really felt natural and at home in this like team environment where, yes, you have to think about this. You're 10, 11, 12 years old, tights and a leotard, and you're staring at yourself in a mirror the entire time you're doing this. And I think that's a valuable lesson in kind of understanding how to elevate yourself and seeing your growth and seeing your development. I think a lot of the emphasis about dance doesn't reflect on that as much as it does about body image, but when you see your actual physical form enhance and become better, there's a different kind of drive that develops inside of that person, I think. And that's how I know dancers and artists to be like that. And especially when you have a mirror in front of you. Yes, you're critiqued all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a valuable lesson to learn as well. It humbles and creates a understanding of, it's not humiliation.
Exactly.
It's honesty and a valuable lesson to learn to become better. And musicality, listening to different levels of music. You know, dance to me is an expression of music. And so I love music. I'm like big into it. That was like a lot of my upbringing.
Yeah. What kind of music?
I was a Janet Jackson fiend when I was young. Like Janet Jackson, Madonna, Michael Jackson.
112.
Hey. I was a little bit older. No, I was always like, if you see family videos of me young, because I was around a lot of family during my time in San Diego until about 8 years old. You know, so I grew up there. Yeah. But young memories, young childhood memories, and things you can sometimes only remember when they're like a visual picture in front of you or a video that you're watching. It's kind of difficult to reconnect to that sometimes. But all of my family videos are of me performing at some point. Like, not anything that I've learned or whatever, just my natural pizzazz for life.
Flash.
I was one of those. My cousins really didn't like me a lot because I always wanted to be in the middle.
You had that swag, you know? I hear you.
But I love them.
The transfer's over into cooking, you know?
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So I went to a performing arts high school in Tampa. Mm-hmm. So dance became such a big part of my life, and I was competing with a competition team. Like, that was such a big part of my life that I went to a performing arts high school for dance, auditioned, got chosen, got to, basically the curriculum for 4 years was 2 classes, an hour and 50 minutes each of dance, and 2 academic classes that are your normal curriculum of high school. History, English, you know, geography, math, whatever. That's kind of what your day was split up. So half of the time you were in a dance studio, either doing ballet, doing modern, jazz, learning kinesiology, learning staging, learning equipment, lighting equipment. There were so many facets of it that we learned in high school. It felt like a collegiate education in the sense that I didn't know anyone else that was working this way as a high school student. While I was doing that, I was on the high school dance team. While I was doing that, I was in the dance studios every night. So there was just, this was my life. That was it. My mother's relationships kind of transitioned during this time, so about my sophomore year of high school. My sister, through her marriage, was probably like 3. I have one sister on my mom's side. Yeah. And they got a divorce, and that was about my sophomore year of high school. And I really remembered, like, okay, now I want to go back to San Diego.
Yeah.
I want to go back to LA. Florida was such a wonderful experience for me to grow up somewhere other than Southern California.
Yeah.
So different. Mm-hmm. Such a different culture and lifestyle, different way of life, different understanding of just kind of a moral compass, really. And Southern California, I mean, it's gorgeous, but there's a lot of superficiality here that doesn't necessarily translate to substance.
Yeah, it's like everybody's trying to be an actress sector out here.
You know, and I'm so appreciative to have a different perspective as my upbringing.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to return. And with dance being kind of this, and this is, okay, so we got to think like culturally. Like I graduated 2003. So 03, 2000, like pop stars, you know, this was kind of when things started to truly commercialize on a different level, I think, for me, like culturally. Music-wise, dance-wise, like MTV was, you know, making the video, making the, you know, all of this
they had
stuff.
shows,
They had a lot
not
of shows
just music videos.
So LA is like where all of this is happening. LA or New York. And so I came out here because obviously I have family out here. Like this is my safety net. So I came back once I graduated high school. I said, Mom, I love you. I would love to stay and be here with Sis and you and all of this stuff, but I don't want to live in Florida. I don't want to go to college in Florida. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go back to California. And I did. 2 weeks after I graduated, I flew and I said, bye, Mom. I love you. And that was a huge heartbreaking experience for I think my mother and I, because we have never done that before.
Yeah.
And I was 17, moving back in with my dad, who by the way was married and had 4 children and a stepchild and had this entire family.
Yeah, so you're new.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back.
I'm back
move
now.
In now. Hi.
Yeah.
That lasted about 4 months.
Okay.
I realized, maybe there's some things that my father and I might want to start working out.
Yeah.
Because this isn't what you thought it was. You're not like, they call that the Disneyland dad, where you're like the weekend person. And that was the thing. I was 8 when I moved to Florida. At that time, you could put an 8-year-old on a plane.
By himself,
Fly them
with
to
a little
San
tag.
Diego. You got a stewardess who walks you around. And so I've been flying back and forth by myself from San Diego to Tampa since I was 8 years old.
That was me in Puerto Rico.
Exactly.
Connecticut to Puerto Rico.
So, you just kind of, you get used to, and I think that's definitely created an understanding of solo travel for me that I still do today.
Yeah,
that
it's
I
amazing.
Completely
it's almost like I feel great about it.
Oh, yeah.
When I have a trip by myself coming, I'm like, I get to spend 6 hours on a plane. Mm-hmm. No one can call you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's amazing.
Up top.
Yeah,
that's my
just
favorite
looking
thing.
down.
I look out the window and I look down, and you don't see anything. And you realize, how small are we?
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
And you're not even outer space.
Yeah. Sometimes,
how small are you?
When
you might want to rethink your ego.
When we fly from New York, from JFK to Puerto Rico, everybody always claps. So those were the first flights that I've always, been on. Everybody claps, right? Because they're happy to be alive. And then you get to Puerto Rico, right? So then I flew to California and I started applauding, and no one's clapping, and I'm like, aren't you guys happy to be alive? They're like,
safety first, everyone.
Yeah, no one gives a fuck. But anyways, that was always a cool thing for me, and it only happens on flights to Puerto Rico. Is that what I've seen?
Aww.
Yeah. So very special.
I've clapped once on a horrible flight, but that was because it took 2 days for me to get from Tampa to San Diego.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
I had a really horrible overnight in Corpus Christi when I was like 17.
Corpus Christi, home of Selena.
Texas. Mm-hmm. So it was just this that was hell, but I clapped on that one. But that was the thing, I wanted to get home. I wanted to get back, and I wanted to dance professionally. That's what I wanted to do when I got to.
Is there any inkling in you to cook? Do you even? So what's your relationship with food? Yeah,
translates that.
Okay.
I have a lot of very strong women in my family. In my mom's side of the family, it's my Nana, my Tia Miranda, my mom, my Frankie Lynn, my cousin, Aunt Tootie, her sister, my big Nina. It's all of these women who have influenced me in the kitchen, because all of them were always in the kitchen.
Yeah.
All growing up, we weren't the family that was eating out. We were the family that was cooking at home and eating for every single occasion. And while you're eating for the occasion, you're talking about the next meal for either that day or the next occasion or whatever we're doing. That's part of the soul of my cooking, is just knowing that it's in a home, it's feeding a family, feeding my family, whatever it is, but it's just kind of that sensation of, I know only that. That's what I've grown up knowing.
Yeah.
My father's side of the family, it's kind of mixed. A lot of women, a lot of men. A lot of women also do cook. My dad's mother is French. My dad's dad is Italian. My grandfather, my dad's father, actually was one of the original investors with Wolfgang Puck and with Thomas Keller at French Laundry. Like, he's very restaurant oriented and centered, and has he worked as a lawyer in Century City, so he had one of those offices kind of in the middle of the city, and they fed into, when Wolfgang opened the old Spago place, that he was one of those investors. He went to Checkers and would write Thomas Keller notes in the kitchen, just be like, hey, whenever you want to open your own place, let me know. I'm here, I'm an investor. And he's, it's so funny to go into my Grandpa Danny's kitchen. It's like Thomas Keller everything. Like, he just gets gifted all of his stuff because he's an investor. He's, Papa TK's investor.
That's awesome.
But I wasn't close with my father.
Yeah.
And I never really saw my grandfather. And now that we are back in each other's lives. And it's a really interesting,
it's crazy.
Seeing my journey without having that understanding, and then those meeting now and the future of what I actually do now. It's kind of just back ass.
It's almost like the universe was like, you need to dance first before you become a chef. And if you stay here, you will become a chef first.
And you will make the connections that will take you wherever you want to go.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
truly what I've been able to realize now.
Yeah.
And so when I moved to LA, I was dancing, trying to audition, doing all that stuff, got headshots, got, the whole thing, put my resume on the back. Got an agent. Went to LA. I never got an agent. I never was with an agency. It's kind of weird, my dance career. Everything's just a little different.
A little different. It's all good.
But I started teaching with an old dance studio. I worked at California Pizza Kitchen, front of the house.
CPK, baby.
CPK all the way. So I started with them as underage host. 17, 18 years old. Didn't realize, one, I was with California Pizza Kitchen for 6.5 years.
Damn.
And two, I was able to stay with them that long because I moved between San Diego and LA a lot, that I was able to transfer stores. So all of my front of the house service stuff is with CPK standards, step by step, kind of idealistic of this corporate. Every single training module you could possibly think of was already put together, was already there. Their success and level of success, especially during that time, is because they had that place locked down. They just had every single detail already written down and put into a sequence of order and sent to every single employee who's going to bear the name of that company.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. And I made great money, and I, went back and forth. Always made friends with the kids in the kitchen first. I always had this connection. Obviously, a lot of them being Mexican. I have Mexican heritage.
Yeah.
I would kind of just feel a little more at home in the kitchen
I
sometimes.
hear you.
And I worked myself up into having a steady job, and that's what kept me going so that I could dance. I could teach classes weekly. I got into a dance company with Tessandra Chavez, and she is now a multiple Emmy award winning choreographer for all of the stuff she does on Dancing with the Stars or World of Dance or any of these kinds of, she was on So You Think You Can Dance as a choreographer years ago.
Damn.
And she's just this incredible woman. she was holding dance company auditions in